Man, I can't seem to get away from doing videos about precious metals right now. Is that amazing? We just started the new year, and all I'm hearing right now is just precious metals after precious metal stories after precious metal stories. Of course, as I say that, I looking at the opening in silver today. Of course, it's not really, it's still the overnight market, but just, you know, out of nowhere, silver, boom, drops down 56 cents. Having said all that, just the other day we had a German politician come out and say that the precious metals rigging of prices was worse than the LIBOR rate rigging, which is incredible. I didn't think anything could be worse than the LIBOR rate scandal, or rigging of that key interest rate. So there's approximately 5 banks, too big to fail across the world, of course, that are part of the London fix, that have to do with the price setting of the day-to-day price of gold, basically. So we have Deutsche Bank, one of the 5 banks involved in setting the daily AM and PM London fixed gold prices, has announced today, this was not actually today, it's more like yesterday or the day before, has announced today it will quit participating in precious metals price settings due to the ongoing investigation by the German authorities into alleged precious metals manipulation. It appears that the daily price fixes may be in jeopardy, particularly in silver, as the bank's exit would leave only HSBC and the Bank of Nova Scotia as the remaining banks involved in the daily silver fix. And reports indicate others may follow Deutsche Bank's lead. So it's looking like the days are numbered for these guys. One after another, they keep getting nailed for things. They've rigged everything you can think of, and these banks even said it. Yeah, we know we've done it, but most of the time we don't have to admit it. We just settle out of court with the regulators and promise not to do it again, even though we're not admitting to guilt. So I promise I won't do this again, but I've never admitted that I did it in the first place. But I won't do it again. Okay, that sounds kind of weird. So Deutsche Bank is going to be one of the first ones out, being exposed. So that's very interesting because, let's see, where was that other one at? Here's the one where the German feller talks about that the precious metals rigging is worse than LIBOR. Germany's top regulator. Precious metal manipulation worse than LIBOR rigging. And Silver Doctors has a few key bulletin points here that they wanted to talk about, all in relation to this. So I'm just going to give you the headlines rather than read you every single piece of this right now, because really the headline is all you need. The cartel's management is visible this week. 2014 looks like managed retreat versus a crushing strategy. COMEX register gold inventory hits new low of 370,000 ounces as of January 15th. I talked about that yesterday. Germany's top regulator, BaFin, indicates that precious metals and currency rigging are possibly worse than LIBOR rigging. And they've already got busted with the LIBOR. They've rigged everything on the face of the earth, as I said before. And they've basically admitted to it. Except not precious metals, we don't rig those. That's something we, you know, as JP Morgan said, we've got a client that has a huge position that they deal with. We're just the facilitator of that position, right? So that's a lie, because all these banks rig everything. There's not a chance in hell that they would have skipped out on gold and silver, because number one, and first and foremost, gold and silver are direct competing currencies with all of the world's currencies. And since all of the Western world has central banks that have paper money that print paper backed by nothing but faith, not even a physical object, pure faith that this money is something, you could never, ever, ever allow something like gold and silver to even shine in the eyes of the people at all, to say, hey, this is actually money, which you guys are using as paper, and you could wipe your rear end with it like you could paper. So it's not going to surprise anybody that these banks that set the rates, the London AM and PM fix for gold, and of course there's a couple now that do silver, that these guys are being exposed. And now Deutsche Bank, they just posted, by the way, Deutsche Bank posted the worst loss maybe ever last quarter, and the headline everywhere, one of my favorite words I have not had to use in a very, very long time. I used to use this a lot in 2009 and 10 when all the crap from 2008 crash started happening. You know, there's lots of news to use this word because I always saw it being used. Unexpected, or unexpectedly, such and such, unexpectedly, you know, unemployment unexpectedly rose today. The jobless numbers unexpectedly rose again. Unexpectedly. And I would sit there and say, no, I completely expect this. This is absolutely expected. Look at the numbers. The other numbers that they try to manipulate but can't manipulate as much as the unemployment numbers, such as the jobless numbers, where they feel like, well, if these people have found a job, they must have found a job because we're not counting them anymore. Okay, did you contact the people, like do a survey? Did you find a job? No, we just assume. And the numbers since 2008 show that 10 more million people are added to those jobless numbers. Yet the unemployment rate has come down. Not humanly possible, yet it is. So that's pretty much all I want to discuss with you right now. The fact that something has happened, and a good thing, in other words, something that the average person like you and I who pay attention to this stuff would see as actually a good sign in our favor of trying to make some of these bastards pay for what they've done, right? And now the German authorities are investigating, finally, Deutsche Bank, which is a huge bank. It's one of the too big to fails. All the money that we gave out, and then we gave some additional to the foreign banks, Deutsche Bank was absolutely one of those banks that received a lot of bailout money from the United States. So, the authorities are investigating potential precious metals manipulation, pricing manipulation, and Deutsche Bank has the biggest loss may have ever occurred in a quarter, and the word unexpectedly was tied to that. On every article I read, unexpectedly dropped out of citing litigation costs. Citing litigation costs. We had a bad quarter here. Litigation as in you're being sued. Yes. Well, normally, in a normal world, people don't just get sue happy and sue everybody just to sue, because it costs money to actually file the lawsuit and to take your time and deal with all that and hire a lawyer. So you probably got quite a few legitimate lawsuits on your tail that you're having to deal with, and you felt like the whole time you would do the same business model that everyone else did in the banking world, which was break the law repeatedly and just pay the regulators fines, because the profits we will receive will way outdo the fines. Therefore, it becomes a business practice to make $5 billion illegally, fraudulently, breaking the law, and then pay $1 to $2 billion in fines, thus leaving us a net profit, worst case scenario, of $3 billion a quarter or a year or whatever. Except there's a problem. When you're doing these things, they're illegal for a reason, because you are harming other people. So sure, the regulators will settle with you with a smile on their face, so that when they quit their regulator job, they can come into your bank and make a lot of money. And then when they quit the bank, they go back into a regulator position to break more rules, allow you to skate by paying these little fines. But there's a problem. the individual, the company, the whatever, the municipality that you screwed over by doing these practices has a legitimate right to sue you. And they are. So now you can pile up all that profit you ever made and deal with fighting these people, these lawsuits. So what Deutsche Bank is saying, it's affecting us so badly this last quarter alone that our quarterly report is worse than terrible, awful for our company. Not looking good. So, on top of that, they're being investigated for precious metals price manipulation, and as soon as they're investigated, we're gonna stop participating in the price setting mechanism of the AM and PM London fix. We're just gonna do that. But wait a minute, Deutsche Bank, in all fairness to you guys, because we know you guys don't do bad things. After all, you're a bank. Banks don't do bad things, except steal the whole world's money. Deutsche Bank, don't you want to at least see what the regulators find? You guys got to be innocent, right? Everyone's innocent. Oh, please, I'm innocent. So you guys got to be innocent. Let the regulators find what they're going to find before you jump out. I mean, or is it that you're absolutely guilty and you know you're guilty and you've been having backroom discussions with the regulators that the rest of us don't know about, and the regulators are telling you, look, you know we've been here for you guys and the other banks for years upon years upon years upon years. And we've looked the other way, and believe me, we've really enjoyed our employees at the regulatory agency being able to get a job at any of you banks and then come back and then get a job and then come back and kind of look the other way. But guys, this is so bad. We feel the people will kill us because it's so rotten and so bad what you've done. So we have to do something. And I know it was a good run. You guys had it a long time. You made tons of money. You guys are all filthy rich. But now it's time that we have to do something. We can no longer look the other way. So you'll agree we've been there for you for a long time. Probably longer than anyone would have thought, correct? Yeah, you're right. So, Deutsche Bank, we need you to stop participating while we investigate you. We still have the other 4 boys, the club, manipulating, okay? And then someone will do an investigation into one of them, and then they'll have to drop off, and then that'll leave 3 left, and then someone will do an investigation of them, then that'll leave 2 left, and then, see, we're gonna drag this on purpose for our own governmental sake anyways, because we don't want precious metals rising against our dollars, our piece of crap, paper worthless dollars. So, we're in this together, but you're the first one to fall, because we have to take action now. We've got to investigate because we've had too many complaints, so we have to act now. That's how I think this is going down. So, as I said, it's good news. Doesn't mean it's going to happen the next, week or two. We're going to have precious metals prices just explode out of nowhere. But the fact that they're running low on everything, precious metals, their investigations, they're dropping out of the price fixing, you can see that things are changing. You may not see it looking at the price of precious metals right this second. But if you're not looking at just the stupid price, look at what's happening in the world. Great change is actually happening. Unbelievable change is actually happening. So, all I'm saying is be patient. As I've always said, this is not something that I ever advise someone to get in quick. You're going to make a bunch of money and then just sell. I always came into this doing videos and stuff telling people the whole purpose of me telling you right now to buy gold and silver, precious metals, is because what I see coming in the future, financial ruin to countries, including our own America, in which people laughed me off the stage in the beginning, 2009 and 10. Oh, you're crazy. It's not going to happen here. Those same people don't think that way anymore, by the way. But it was always to protect your financial livelihood to some extent. And the extent would be, how much money do you have now, at the time, as well as right this second, by the way, to invest in the precious metals wherever the current price is. And from that time, the price was $10, 13, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and almost 50. And then now we're back down to 20. So most people who would have bought high are upset right now because I've been waiting 2 years. This is ridiculous. Calm down. Because if precious metals go to $100, and that's not absurd, it's going to happen easily. And I mean silver. You're going to say, oh man, that didn't hurt at all. $50, I bought it at the absolute high, and then I sold at $100 and doubled your money. The point of this is, I'm not planning on buying and selling. I'm not trading silver. I want to see what happens when the big collapse comes. That will determine what I do and when I do it with my silver. At the same time, even if things are peachy and maybe there was a little collapse, and just because the way things are today, it did not last long. 6 months later, we've recovered. There's a new currency. Everything just changed. And we're starting to go back again to whatever, the land of prosperity. It's going to be years, but we're at least on the path. And I said, you know, I still got my job. I still got my paycheck. I was relatively unharmed by this. But silver's $300 an ounce right now. Don't think for a second I'll be hanging on to my silver with those kind of prices, even though everything might be good at the time. No, 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 no. I will sell it. And that's about the time you will hear JSnip4 doing a video headline, all capital letters, OMG, oh my God, I just bought a house with some silver. When you see that video from JSnip4, oh my God, I just bought a house with some silver, that's when you know all this is paid off, and that I hope you too will have been purchasing your precious metals all these years. Old JSnip4 has been yapping his mouth, because it's stuff like this with Deutsche Bank and this and that. These regulators getting on them finally and doing something, even though they know that they're forced to do it. They don't want to do it, but they have to. These are all things that have happened. I've even discussed this on the Roman Empire, where they finally had to do some things because the people had just had enough, and they realized, all right, we've looked away enough. We got to start taking action, and they finally did. It was slow in coming. It was way overdue, but it finally came. This thing with Deutsche Bank being investigated about precious metals manipulation, this is all stuff leading to that. Where you don't want to be is when all this happens, and then you see what happens to the price of precious metals going way up, and then you say, I think I ought to get in now. That's when you don't. When the mainstream media is telling you not to bother with gold and silver, that's when you should be running to gold and silver. And that's what's been happening these last 3 years. So you could do with this information with whatever you want, however you want with it, or whatever you want with it. I already know where I stand. And as I've said, I just had this, matter of fact, I'm sitting in front of my doctor's office. I got to go get my foot looked at because it's the little post whatever thing where they want to just take a look at it, make sure everything looks good. But they're not quite open just yet. So the point of this conversation of the foot doctor is that I just spent money paying out of pocket for my surgery, and man, oh man, would I have liked to have spent that money on some more silver right now. But it cost me, over $2,000 to move to Tennessee at the end of January. It cost me another $2,000 to come back. I sold my Crown Victoria, the old ex-police car I used to have. I love that car, by the way. And I think I got $2,800 or something like that for it, or around $3,000. So I had to go to Tennessee, and I need a little pickup truck. So the only truck I could find, this is February, second week of February. So now, tax return season's in, and all the prices for vehicles are high at all the dealerships. And I can't find anything. I need one urgently. My wife's got this car, actually, this Tahoe, and I need a little truck. So I pay $4,000 for a truck that might, on a good day, be worth $3,000. So I'm out an additional $1,000, right? I only had $3,000 for my Crown Victoria, so I had to come up with another $1,000 to get this truck. So long story short, I spent a lot of money in Tennessee making that work. I wanted it to work, it just didn't work. And now I'm back in Florida, back at the old job. I'm actually loving life, doing some new things at the company, programming and stuff. That's working out pretty well, so I'm happy with all that. But I do look back and say, man, $2,000 up there, $2,000 on the way back, you know, $2,500 on this foot surgery. That's a lot of silver. I would love to have right now at $20 silver. Oh my God. But I can't. So I'm just waiting, save up a little money, and I'm hoping right now, hold on, let me take a little bit of, I don't even know what the hell this is, but this is I'm gonna take a hit of some hopium. Hopium. Ooh, that hopium, strong. Just kidding. I'm gonna hope that I get my taxes back. We have a little bit of credit card debt for the wife. Not a lot. That'll get paid off. There should be definitely some left over. I plan on selling this Tahoe during tax return time, because that's when you get the most money for your vehicle. And I have that little pickup truck still from Tennessee. I can drive that, get it insured again, and just drive it, or sell it and buy something else. But the additional money that I have left over, at least some of it, I have got to get some silver. So during this tax season, you need to do the same thing. Take care.